Okay, folks, good evening. Gonna get a little bit more painting done, hopefully. And as always, a recap. I did do some this morning because yesterday, what did we do yesterday? We left everything painted black, right? We left everything painted black, and yeah, so we painted the Lukes, Panzer 2L. We painted the 222, the Archer, the Stug, the Jagdpanzer 4, and the Stug 3. And the ones that are Panzer Gray are the Stug 3E, 3E, need more caffeine. And the 222. So we gave both of these an original Panzer Gray color, and we did the Agrax Earthshade wash. See if we can find some Panzer Gray that's not been washed. No, it's pretty much all been washed. Basically a dark brown wash. And this is the color you end up being. And then I dry brushed Panzer Gray on top of it. And then added this German World War II Luftwaffe blue to give it a little bit of a blue tint. And you should be able to see that. And then highlighted this with a little bit of dark sand, which is what we did with the olive drab vehicles, and they turned out nicely. So this is where we are. This is where we are on the 222. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with the Stug. So put that back, and let's go to town. And we need more air circulation than that. So we're going to get some more of this German gray, which is still a very dark color. As far as I'm concerned, it's a pretty dark color. Happy Wednesday, Skylab. Out in the Utah outpost. Welcome. Let's change this up so you can get a better view of these bad guys. So this is what we had dry brushed originally. We're going to dry brush it again. And it's going to cover most of this stuff up. But it's still going to leave like a pin wash, like a free pin wash. Early war German armor. Well, depends what you consider early German. I'm going to paint them on the time of the war where they seem to have been winning. Let's put it that way. So this is going to be a Barbarossa vehicle all the way through Stalingrad. After Stalingrad, they pretty much didn't use these guys. Short-barreled Mark IV. Short-barrel 75. I'm not with it, man. I need to drink more caffeine or something. I'm wanting to say one thing and saying something different. Guess I've dealt with so much incompetence today that some of it had to rub off on me. I like my Germans Panzer Gray. I admit that's the color they should be. I am not a huge Stalingrad fan, but I was watching something at lunchtime with maps that they did. So 1940 to mid 42. Well, I don't believe in doing the 1940 stuff. I just, multiple reasons. First of all, a lot of the German tanks didn't have the turret bustle, the turret storage thing on the back, and I just think that they look stupid. And also the tank crews had those silly little looking berets. See, I'm not a fan of the 1940 stuff, so I'm a fan of Africa, but these are going to be for early Barbarossa. And I was going through there like, what Panzer grade vehicles do I have already? Because I don't have any I've got two Panzer 3Fs that actually, unfortunately, have they have the 37 in them, not the 50. So I got those guys. I got a short-barreled 4, a 4F1, which was pretty much state-of-the-art when Barbarossa kicked off. It was the latest version of the Mark IV in June 41. I think it just started coming out. Most of the other ones were either D's or E's. I don't have any 3Gs or 3Hs yet. I got one Czech 38. Got a couple Panzer IIs, but I've got to fix hatches to them. I got to make some hatches out of styrene. They've come up missing. So these are War Games models. I think that these will look better than most people's War Games stuff. So this isn't. We're not going to enter IPMS competition or anything like that. Okay, so this is just what I did. I just took the Panzer Gray and I highlighted it again. Now, when I was doing World War II stuff 20 years ago, there was just Panzer Gray, not this. Well, sometimes it has a little bit of blue in it. I didn't even know that was a controversy or whatever. We just painted them this color and moved on. But I actually like a little bit of the blue hue to it. And I decided to replicate that by doing the next highlight using this German World War II Luftwaffe blue. The image on the computer. Yeah, I don't know. I adjust this and it always adjusts back to something else. That's what happens when you use these programs and they're free. They tend to misbehave. And let's adjust this brightness. Let's leave it there. It's probably too bright. And now if you do something like the Dunkelgelb vehicle, it doesn't look the right color. But it is pretty darn dark. It is pretty darn dark, and that's where this comes in. Oh. So we're not even going to brush this off. Let's take this Luftwaffe blue, which isn't very blue. It's just let's see if you can tell the difference here. This light is so damn strong. It's getting a lot of kickback. And I mean by that is it's saturating the brightness of everything. And we're still going to weather on top of this. This is just the faded gray, so to speak. We're still going to do weathering on it. Nothing extreme, but all right. So we've got this Luftwaffe blue. Actually, let's not do any half measures. Because we do want, there we go. Let's not do it in between. All right, we're going to go over. All these areas. give them a little bit of a... I've seen other people, you give them a blue wash, and they end up, the details on a vehicle don't pop. They look more realistic than real vehicles, so kudos to them. I just don't want them to look that way. And not only do I not want them to look that way, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, I got a lot of vehicles to paint. I'm never going to get to the end of them if I'm going to spend that much on each vehicle. I'm not opposed to spending time on things, but that's just not the look I'm going for. Ultra realistic and all that. It took me some time to try to identify exactly which Stug this is, which model. It's a 3E. So this is the last one that had the short... Wait a second, was there a short barrel F? There may have been a short barrel F. But... And these that I'm doing just happen to be some of the crummiest looking models that I have. They're very imprecise models that I have. So if these look good, the better quality models will look a lot better. Getting cold out there in Utah yet? Or cooler? We were getting some cool weather when we were around the storm, and then it warmed up again. We're back to having these nights where it's like 80 degrees in the dark. Not a fan. Not a fan of them. And you can see where the front of this has been mismolded, so we're going to have to put some mud or something on there to try to cover that up. All right, now, let's go ahead and rinse this thing completely. Let's use this one. We'll get some of this dark sand out here. Figure it's probably better to use this than white. So we're going to grab some of this color. Actually, let's get a little bit more out here. This one here. And then we'll make sure that we get the edges of this as well to add some contrast in there. All the hard edges that we have on here. Getting chilly in Utah at dawn or mid-70s during the afternoon. Perfect. Trees are still changing colors. We went to, I don't know if you could see it on YouTube. I created not YouTube, but Google Maps. There's a thing where you can like share photos. There's a photo that we took up on our snowmobiling thing to this place that's, I'm gonna say it's east northeast of Park City, which is where we stayed. We stayed in Park City. There's a basin up there in the mountain called Windy Ridge, and there's a basin up there. And I shared a picture of the one that I took, and I think you can access it from there, but I don't even remember what year that was. 2018? I think it was 2018. Because 2019 we went to Colorado. Yeah, it's 2018 or 2017. We had a good time. Stayed for, I want to say we stayed for a week. But we went during my daughter's spring break, which of course, it was really hot when we went, but there had been like a week before, there had been snowfall. And and luckily it was heavy snow and there was some left, but I could have worn shorts. But the mountains for us is like going on another planet. It's just something totally alien. Let's bring this up a tiny bit. It was one of those things that we needed to. We went on the snowmobiling tour, and there was like no phone reception. So when I was done, I'm like, all right, let me check on Google Earth and see where the hell I went, because that's how I think. I'm a big map person. I always like checking out where I was. So innocent mountains, incredible geography, nice absence of bugs and humidity to help me here in Utah. I actually like the humidity. I don't like the heat. So like when I went to Utah wasn't too bad. When we went to Colorado, man, it was so freaking dry I couldn't handle it. I actually like I actually like Colorado better for the mountains, but I like Utah better for the people. The Colorado people were just stoned out of their mind. Not everybody, but a good percentage of them. And I'm not a fan of that. Absolutely not a fan of that. But I actually like the humidity. I just get too thirsty. I get dehydrated easy. I was getting like headaches. If I wasn't like pounding the water, I wasn't even thirsty. I had to pound water. I was getting headaches. I got reverse altitude sickness. I was fine when I was over there, and then I got home and I felt like I was drunk. And it lasted for 4 or 5 days. And unlike when you're on a ship and you get your sea legs and it takes you a few days, as long as you're moving, you don't feel it you don't feel it. But man, that altitude sickness, it felt like I had like 3 beers the whole time. Yep. Yeah, definitely the dry brushing on the edges. Yeah, well, I saw other people. I saw what they did, and I decided what worked for me and what didn't work for me. Everybody has a different idea of what they want to accomplish. I am not a fan of chipping. I'm not a fan of chipping. Mr. Nordic, welcome back. I think that for war games models, it's too much. It doesn't look right. Now I have seen masters do it, and yeah, their vehicles look better than a real vehicle. I'm not going for that. For a couple reasons. First, the main reason is I don't like the look. The second reason is, I don't have all of a lifetime to do this. I now have a ton of vehicles to do, and I'm not really in a hurry, but I would like to get them all to them all because I want to get more. I'm not going to let myself get more until these are close to being complete. Close to being complete anyhow. Did you get the notification today, Nordic, that I was on? Hopefully you did. You got to subscribe, which I know you are. You got to make sure you hit that bell. Hit that bell so you get notified. Managed to make a Facebook and tried sending you a message, but I don't know if it went through. I have no idea how to use Facebook. Oh, it's not that difficult. I didn't check my Facebook. Let me, so I can send you that photo of that the stuff you were looking for. Let me check it right now. At least put your mind at ease. Just add this. I love Facebook for communicating with people in the hobby. It's great for that. It's just real easy to send pictures and stuff. No. I don't have anything from you. But if you tell me what your handle is, I'll send you a message and it'll be easier to figure that out. So if you want to tell me what your handle is there, I'll send you a message and maybe we can communicate that way. Uh-oh. What happened? I was watching some Stalingrad stuff at lunchtime, and I noticed that Old Tick has a whole series on Stalingrad stuff, and I really like his presentation style. But man, that poor guy spends a whole lot of time on. I guess a lot of people come after him with, thinking he's unbalanced or something like that. I think the guy is really. What's the word I'm thinking of? I think his arguments he puts forth, I think, are really well done, and I don't think he's got an agenda, So. Old Tick. All right. These guys look equivalently pretty close. So I was thinking in my head, okay, what vehicles are we going to make Panzer grade out of? So I got a couple Panzer 3s, Panzer 3Es, the Panzer 4 mess that I have, the F1 and the F2 are going to be gray. And I think all of the half tracks that are the C variant are going to be gray as well. And the B. I've got a B one as well. That'll be gray. I think I'm going to do the trucks that I have in gray. Because it wouldn't be unusual for a German truck in 1944 to still be gray. But it would be very, very unusual for a truck in 1941 to be in Dunkelgelb. Did something freeze? Son of a bitch. Oh, there it is. Nordic Maelstrom is the handle, I think. All right, let's do this. Let's do this for a second. We can at least. I'm not going to go and take pictures right now, but I can at least. Nordic Maelstrom. There's a Maelstrom Nordic and a Nordic Maelstrom. He follows my public posts. Okay, I'm going to add you as a friend. Okay? And then when you go in there, you need to accept my friend request. Oh, there it is. Awesome, dude. I'll send you the pics this weekend. Can't promise to do it before that. Ah, crap. It's half typed in capitals. I hate that. I can't type and look at the and look at the screen. So, good. Excellent. Nope. We should be in communication now. So I'll send you the pictures this weekend. Those private pictures for your eyes only. Nah. Just wanted some, I have a book here that interests you, so. Yep. Cool. I'll take them this weekend and send them over to you, so that way you have that. Okay? And, that'll be cool. Okay, we got to paint black, the black tires on these guys, which is funny because they're really crude. They don't even have a rim. So, wish me luck. Wish me luck on that. Let's go ahead and do that. Paint all the black detailed things that we need. I guess there's a shovel. All right, the quest for a brush that isn't a piece of shit. That one. All right, and we're gonna have to use Mr. Wet Palette because we're gonna be double dipping in the black a lot. All right, so let's move 222 out of the way. Well, my favorite thing I'm looking forward to is putting decals on these things because the American decals sucked. Not because of their American decals, just the brand is just horrible. And I wish I'd known. I mean, those Pettinghouse decals are everywhere, but so much for Germans being precise. If the German decals are the ones that are terrible. All right, I think I had pretty good results using water and not the paint thinner. Not the airbrush thinner. So let's continue on with that. Let's get this over here. And I just use straight black. I don't try to turn it into a dark gray, none of that nonsense. That's splitting hairs. By the time I dry brush it, it's gonna dull it out anyways. I should post some pictures of my miniatures so you can see some of the things I've painted. Absolutely. You feel like a boomer not knowing how to work Facebook. What's the thing I don't know how to use? That's okay. I mean, you know, you can't be good at everything. What's the one I hate? I hate Instagram. I hate Instagram because the picture's got to be square. No, sometimes the picture isn't square. Snapchat, the one that my daughter uses. I hate Snapchat. Things disappear. What do you mean? Well, if things are just going to disappear out of nowhere, then I'm not going to contribute to them. What's the one that's a pain in the ass to use? Twitter. Twitter's a pain in the ass to use. I tried it for about a month. Had no value to me. I'm out. I don't need to follow anybody. It's not like I got some political or famous person I want to follow around and find out what color underwear they wear on Tuesdays. I don't really give a shit. I don't know how to use a blender. What does that make me? Um, I don't know. I'm not gonna pick on your cooking skills or lack thereof because I'm not very good at that either. I can make some mean drinks though. Not that I ever do, but cooking, that's a waste of my time. That's a waste of my time. People say, "Well, you like to eat." That's right. I just assemble shit. It's not like I can't make a fucking sandwich, you know? I just had to see Tony listed as a friend, and that's the one. Sent your friend request. Aha. Well, we'll get that back in a second. I love it. I think Facebook is great for the hobby. People always like to trash Facebook. Oh, they don't let me put controversial stuff on there. Why are you putting controversial stuff on there to begin with? You know, I don't want to argue with people. Do I have opinions that are not mainstream? Sure, mainstream stuff is weird now. But, you know, that's not what I use it for. I wonder what the hell that was that fell over there. The sounds that you hear in a house when you don't live alone. There's a DBA, the bulletin board used to be called Fanaticus. It died in 2016, and somebody reconstituted it, and we've been using that for a while. And it's impossible to post pictures there. You have to go to some a hosting site like we used to be able to do with. I don't remember what it was called. Pick something. I don't know. But then they want you to pay for that service. And I'm like, I'm not paying for that. So, Facebook, you just take pictures with your phone and you post it right there, and it's easy to share photos. Man, what was that photo site? Photo Bucket. Photo Bucket. I was using Photo Bucket, and then Photo Bucket's like, well, if you want to continue using us for a hosting site, you need to pay however much a month. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not paying for that. You know? See, I can pull some pictures off a forum I'm on and post them on Facebook. Dragon Quest 11. I'm not too worried about being super detailed on this because it's going to get... All right, return rollers on the top. They got rubber on them, don't they? At least at this point. They weren't in a rubber shortage yet. I'm pretty sure. I hate turn-based combat. It just, I fall asleep. I gotta have something in between the two things. I like something like Diablo, like it's constantly happening, but it's not too fast that it's out of control. All right, this is a Stug 3E. Stuggy. Pretty sure the return rollers had a rubber on them. Here's one. Yep. Yes, they do. Just making sure. I don't want to go through all that trouble and then find out they don't. What was that fantasy one that I played? I can never remember. I can't remember shit anymore. That I don't think about all the time. Baldur's Gate, when it first came out. And it was fun. I was finding armor, and then I came across an ambush of these guys with magic arrows in the frickin' woods. And I died. And then I loaded it up again, and I died. And then I loaded it up again, and then I died. So I decided to do something different. I loaded it up again, and I died. And then I loaded it up again, and I died. And, you know, I don't enjoy cheating, but I also don't enjoy paying money for a game and I can't finish playing the game because it's too freaking difficult. It ramped up like insanely difficult. And that's how that game was. I don't remember which Baldur's Gate it was, but there was the one character you could play that had the little mouse with him, the little sidekick. Full plate and packing steel, whichever one that was. This would have come out around 1999, 2000, something like that. Thought it was a great game until that happened, and then I couldn't continue the game anymore. There's some role-playing type game that's out. It's been out for a while. I don't remember what it's called, but it looked really good, but it's turn-based combat. Which the problem with turn-based combat is I'm not going to be able to get the wife to play. She'll play something like Diablo, but she won't play the turn-based stuff. And then there was too many weird races and shit you could play. Like, what's wrong with just playing a human? You know? I always play human characters. I'm already human, and I'm proud of the fact I'm human and not something else. You could be some kind of mixture dragon breed or something like that. And I'm like, that's going to be weird if you got some guy that looks like he should be breathing fire on you, and he's like, would you like a potion? You know, it's just not believable enough. But I guess there's people out there that don't want to play human. Maybe they feel bad for being human. I don't. I love being human. Okay, so that side's painted. And this side is not. So let's go to the is not side painted. The is not painted side. You added a couple pictures. Man, now you're going to make me look. Damn it, man. Let's see. Oh, those look really nice. What is that, one of those bugs or something like that? Oh, I like the bug. Is that an Ankylosaurus? It's Ankylosaurus-ish. Pretty cool. Like a big lich or something. It's a big Ankylosaurus with a baby Ankylosaurus on top. Get him, boss! Yeah, it looks nice. Very cool. Mr. Hannah, welcome. You've been playing Retro Heroes of Might and Magic Strategy. God, I feel like I've played that before. That's a Seraphon from the Age of Sigmar. Oh man, I was hoping it was an Ankylosaurus. You just paint their miniatures, right? You don't play the Sigmar game. You know the one Game Workshop game that nobody I've ever heard has a bad thing to say about? And that is Mordheim. I'm not saying I would like it. I'm just passing on what I've heard. Everybody seems to have liked Mordheim. So there's a couple of mysterious vehicles of the Second World War. This happens to be another one. This is a weapon. This is a vehicle that has supposedly an MG-34 with it. But it's, as far as I can tell, they just carried one inside that the loader can just pop on the top and shoot off. But it doesn't have a permanent location for it to go. It does not shoot through the hull, which now that I think of it, I don't think any of the Stugs do. Stugs, sorry. It's going to be hard to undo that. None of the Stugs have a hull mount. They're either a coax or... Actually, I don't think they're a coax. I think they're up here for the loader to shoot. Gotta just paint the miniatures, okay. Yeah, everybody seemed to like Mordheim. You just played your little bands, and that was it. I never got a chance to play it. The only Games Workshop stuff I've ever played is I played Hero Quest one time with a guy who painted all the miniatures and made it all in three-dimensional. Did a good job with it as well. And that's the only miniatures game I've played. And like board game wise, we used to play Talisman. We used to play Talisman, and we forbade the use of the Sorceress, Prophetess, sorry. The one that pulls 2 cards and you discard one and you play the other one. That was just hokey. Took one play to realize, yeah, I don't want to play that game. Don't want to play a character. Don't want that character in play. Never played any other ones. Never had anybody in my game group that was a 40K player. I think if you play with the right people, lots of things are very doable. I don't plan on playing another game that's tournament. And that's without really having a bad experience with tournaments. Used to play Civilization as well. It was fun developing a race, culture, and technology. The Avalon Hill game? I never played it. Saw people play it. Had to be better than Third Reich. And one of my Gore Gamer friends at the time, that was like his favorite game, so he always wanted to pull it out. And I actually had a copy of it. And I think I sold it. I sold it or threw it away. Pretty sure I sold it. I had to throw away my copy of Squad Leader because I'd sold the boards individually. And it's like, well, you can't really play it without boards. Did I? Or did I sell? I don't know. Somebody gave me a copy of Luftwaffe in a garage sale, and I never ever played it. And couldn't get anybody to buy it and threw it away. It wasn't like it was brand new or anything. Big fan of Sid Meier's Civilization 2. I don't know which one I had. If it was the first one or the second one. Whenever Gandhi's involved, he always sneak nuke someone. That's right. Can't trust those people with minimalist clothing. Look, I don't have any. I don't bring anything. I am non-violent. Had the one that had the EGA graphics, and the Russians want to talk to you, and you hear boom, 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 and it's just, you know, Aztec battleship and that kind of nonsense. Had a friend of mine that really liked a game that predates civilization called Empire, where you take cities and you build military units, and you know everybody's military units are the same, but you know you could build. It takes a certain amount of turns to build them. Yes, I probably played that game for the first time around 1991, something like that. Total War Shogun. I got that one for free on my computer, and I've played it some. I played the first Rome a lot. I played the second Medieval a lot. This looks like the scrubber for the barrel. Let's paint that black. I have the second Rome Total War. I haven't played it much. The Attila, haven't played it much. The Three Kingdoms Total War, haven't played it much. Just don't feel like it. It's just not, you know, just not into that stuff anymore. I'd rather do this. I would rather do this. Okay. Those two things are black. Is there anything black on here? Yes, here's a shovel. Okay, obviously we're not going to paint the handle black. Okay. How's the end of this barrel looking? Okay. Okay, that's the thing for the antenna, because it has two antennas, and it has, those are the little racks that it lays down on. I think that's about it on here. Oh, we need to do the coax. I'm going to keep the barrel of this 20mm painted this gray color. I like how it looks better. I don't really like it to be gunmetal. It's just a personal preference. Okay. It's 11 when it came out. You ever played Dragon Quest? I was terrible. I just like seeing the tiny soldiers kill each other. Not good at Total War? Every game turns into the same thing. You hold the line, pin guys down, send cavalry, the mobile troops around to hit them in the back and watch them break. That's how everything is. So after a while, you're like, I don't even want to play this anymore. I don't even want to play it anymore. Been there, done that, had it, had it done to me, did it to somebody else. All right, we're getting into some weird things now. I think I'm gonna add this mud or whatever the hell this is that I've got to fix afterwards. We got let's take a look at some rusty things. I know we got two mufflers down here that are going to be rusty. I think these things that are down here are also muffler type things. Let me see if I can find a picture of a 222 in color, a 232 in color. Okay, let's look at SDKFZ 232. Yes, the 8 rad. Yeah, stuff looks rusty on the back, those two things back there. But more importantly, we need to do the tires on this. Oh man, they don't give me a spare tire. Usually there's a tire like back here in the back. Poopy diapers. All right, well these tires at least have a rim, so I could paint up to the rim. And this is a crappy little casting. There's basically no undercarriage at all. It was just epoxy the tires in place, and it was a mess. But Plastic Soldier Company makes, I think, a 3-pack. And you can make a 231 or a 232. Or the Command version. You could get this one, the one with a big aerial, which I think actually looks pretty cool, and then the one with the fixed superstructure with just an MG34 sticking out of it. I think it's a 263. Bought a box from the pound store for putting DBA armies in. It was called Blondies. The box is perfect for putting DBA armies in. It's deep enough to even take 15mm elephants. The bonus, you got 10. Excellent. Sponge cake with milk chocolate that are really tasty for only £1. Only a solid quid. Saw somebody really cool that had some 3D printed stuff, but again, everything I want comes from the UK. And the shipping was just not cost effective. Or as I like to say, I didn't need it bad enough. I didn't need it bad enough, but I wonder if that's ever going to go back to how it was. Probably not. We'll do this and then we'll do the rusty things, and I think I'm going to be happy with the color. It's kind of hard to say until It's fully weathered, but I want it to have a little bit of a blue hue, but I don't want it to be, you know, like crazy or anything. So this is your favorite vehicle, huh? Nordic? I had a Tamiya model of this, which I don't think I finished it. I'm wondering what I encountered. I ran to analysis paralysis how I wanted to paint it and just didn't. We'll do the insides in a little bit. It's a pretty cool vehicle. This vehicle actually looks pretty weird yellow. My least favorite vehicle, one of my least favorite World War II vehicles, is that duck truck that they had, that U.S. Army truck that's amphibious. That is an ugly ass vehicle. Heading off to bed, nearly 2 a.m. here. Got a busy day later today. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Hopefully I'll be able to do that cool thing I said I was going to do last week and I wasn't able to, so. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it if I get to do it. What vehicle is ugly? The thing they call the duck. It's that a U.S. amphibious truck. It's ugly as shit. I don't care if it was effective. I'm a modeler. That stuff's not important. There's a few vehicles that are ugly. That one's probably my top candidate for the ugliest World War II vehicle, easily. Easily. Fortunately, it's a pretty easy vehicle to avoid. The other thing that's ugly for the Germans is the RSOs. That's the fully tracked little tractors or whatever, but they're pretty easy to avoid. They're kind of a rare thing anyways. It's easy to avoid them on the battlefield. Same with those ducks. Ernest Scared Stupid turned 31 years old yesterday. I've never seen it. Never seen it. You like the LVT-4, would love to do a diorama of one hitting the beachhead in the Pacific with Marines fighting ashore next to it. Not a fan of the Marine landing stuff. Not poo-pooing their service. It's got nothing to do with it. It just doesn't. Just don't really care for them. The stuff out there. Gaming-wise, just doesn't interest me. Look out for the troll. I'll be right back. You said trolls. The first thing I think of is those damn trolls we had in the 80s. Those with the crazy freaking hairs. Those ugly ass things. Aren't trolls like big in Norway or something like that? All right. A couple things we need to do, which surprisingly enough I actually find fun to do. Let's move this out of the way. Make a couple bases for these vehicles. And I'm trying to kind of keep them standardized a little bit. So, obviously this length is standardized. I think we're... Oh, we still got to do rusty stuff. Ooh, I think this will work. I'm going to try to do the same size base. Even though this one seems to be oversized a little bit. They have amusement parks dedicated to trolls. Silly blonde people. Okay, this should fit on there okay. Yep, it's got a little bit of meat around it. Perfect. I think this is like the same width as all the Shermans. They don't have to be the same width. It's kind of nice to have a... Can we round the corners, not get into trouble? Oh yeah, okay. Now, we're not putting this guy on something this wide. That's unnecessary. Let's put them up here with a stack of the other ones. It's a stack of the thin ones that I have. These will be for motorcycles and stuff like that. Yeah, it should fit on there pretty good. Okay, now, this guy, well, does it fit lengthwise? Yeah, okay. So let's put that much meat around it and put that much meat there. All right, so there. Okay, and this is the other one, right? Yep. All right, so this is the spare. There could be madness, but there's got to be method. If I remember correctly, I did not put the clippers in here on purpose. In the tool thing. So it'd be easier to find because they're just going to sink to the bottom. I think I meant to do that. Well, I meant to do it, but I didn't do it. Because there it is all the way at the bottom. All right. Got all kinds of knives and shit in there. It's like almost like one of those dares off of Saw. You gotta stick. Of course, you want to play a game, you have to stick your hand in here. Hopefully you don't get damaged. I don't watch horror movies, but I got sucked into watching all those. I watched the first one on a whim and I was hooked. And that's where I should have stopped because it was the only one that was worth a damn. I don't watch horror stuff. Well, I wouldn't call that horror. More like shock. The tallest tool, yeah, it's handy. Yeah, oh, I'm enjoying the World War II for. It's sad that I put it away for so long, but I think I just went about it the wrong way before when I was running World War II stuff, trying to get people to fight each other. Just run it like a role-playing game. You know, not put everybody on one team, and I mean, the game's slow, but the game makes sense because it's like, okay, pull a guy out. It's his action. What's he do? And then you make a list of, you know, you can reload a weapon, you can shoot, you can move, that kind of stuff. Really simple. You do one thing and then you move on. It's somebody else, you know? And your turn could come up a second time in a row. It's not likely, but it could happen. And enjoy the narrative. What's the worst thing that can happen? I never play it. What's the second worst thing that could happen? Nobody wants to play with me because the game's too slow, and I'll play solo and we'll film it. I mean, it really doesn't get any worse than that. So. My only gripe is that this light just doesn't show what this really looks like. This looks like crap here, honestly. It all looks like the same color, and it's not. It's got all kinds of subtleties to it. So, in natural light, it looks really good. Light's a weird thing. It's my version of clipping counters. Nice. Okay. That task is done. We'll sand these guys when it's time for sanding. Now that the corners are clipped, it's kind of obvious which ones they are because they're the ones with rounded corners. Do the rules use count ammunition? No. No, not on... they would count like, you know, Panzer Faust grenades, but not, you know, how many magazines of MP40 do you have left? You know? No. Mine did, and that was just too much. It's not necessary. So the way it works is you have a weapon and you fire it, right? And if you roll high enough, if you roll low enough, you hit. If you roll higher than the number you need, you miss. It's kind of like squad leader. The lower you roll, the more likely you are to kill whatever you're shooting at. And this is, we're just talking rifle fire, whatever. You shoot one rifle at another guy. You roll, and if you roll like an 01 or an 02, you're going to kill him. Probably anything under 10 or less or something like that. Obviously, there's modifiers and stuff like that. You roll really higher than that, you'll wound him. You roll a little higher than that, you'll give them bad morale check. Roll a little higher than that, you just give them a morale check. And you roll higher than that, you miss. And if you roll really high, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's kind of like a malfunction. But it could either be a malfunction or you get a reload token. And what that means is that you got to you fired so many rounds that you have to spend one action reloading. And it works pretty well. It works pretty well the way it's handled. Instead of having two separate rolls, it's a hit and then an effect. And I've played the game maybe 4 times. I haven't played it that much. But the fact that the rules are out of print, well, now I can run them however the hell I want. I'm not saying I'm going to cheat or anything, but I'm just saying that, if something doesn't seem right, it's not like I got to worry about, well, maybe they'll fix it in the next printing. There is no next printing. So, that's bad, and it's also good. It's liberating. I don't have to sit here on the edge of my seat wondering if they're going to do something that's going to counter what I've done. So, there's also another game that I found out about it on Board Game Geek. It's probably 10 years ago, maybe even a little longer than that, maybe 15 years ago. And it was a game they were developing as a board game, but same individual figures and everything. And I got on a play test group, and the author had health issues before he was ever finished the game, and never finished it. And I have the rules. But it's not percentile. And I'm a percentile fan. I do not need to create vehicle rules. No, they're in there. I've just never played them. I've looked through them. I've just never played them. When you read the rules and you're like, oh, okay, this seems pretty simple, but you never played it. And then when you play it, you're like, oh, this is almost what I thought it was, but it's not quite the same. It's kind of one of those situations. Let me get the rusty color I like to use, which is this orange-brown. That's what I used on the muffler for this guy. The Stug 4. I just need to familiarize myself with them. So you got to keep track of like grenades because you don't have an infinite amount. Panzerfaust, you got to pre-assign them who they go to. Special stuff like that. You probably have to count ammo on like flamethrower blasts. Other than that, you don't have to keep track of anything. I think vehicle rounds you do. You have to like, there's a counter, like if you reload, you're reloading HE, you're reloading AP. It's not difficult, and it's logic based, like it makes sense, like, But the Stug and the Sherman seems like a guys that should side against each other for sure. Unless I got a Panzer 4 done. But all I know is that little scenario. Remember the little scenario that happened the other day when we were playing Close Combat? That I had those American guys, and they were probably 30 meters from a German half-track with height advantage. And they kept shooting like Garands into there, and the half-track, the half-track never went down. None of the crew. The crew seemed to function, and they still flamed me back with a flamethrower. This was a flamethrower half-track. It's a 251-16. That wouldn't happen in these rules. You'd end up catching a grenade. I mean, it's possible that it might happen that way, but You don't put vehicles 30 meters from a building. You just don't. You got no business being that close. Invite all kinds of problems happening to them. Okay, now these things, I saw them all rustified. So that's what we're going to do. So I was looking at some of my scenarios today, and several of the scenarios have early T-34s. Of course, they're early 1941 scenarios from the skirmish campaigns, and they seem to operate in groups of 3. So when I go to paint my T-34s, I may start with the early 1940 models, the ones that have the L11 gun in them, and paint 3 of them. Okay, let's go back to this one over here. Yeah. Yeah, it did seem bogus to me. I have played Normandy Firefight once, and I didn't see any advantage that it had over Face of Battle. As a matter of fact, you're able to play with even less figures in a Face of Battle. And what makes the Face of Battle really good is the leader ability, where you pull a chip for his leader thing and activate a certain person within line of sight and distance. And that's managing that and putting him in the right place at the right time is better than Normandy Firefight. I do have Normandy Firefight. You know, and again, we're talking about what vehicles are good in this. Well, you know, if you have like a couple of American half tracks with a couple squads that dismount and have to take out like a squad or something like that, or you know, most of a squad or a machine gun position or something like that. Something that's open topped, not like, okay, well, here's a King Tiger, and by the way, you don't have any weapons, you know, that can deal with it. That's pointless. A martyr is a good thing to have. Something the infantry can mess up with. An M8 howitzer motor carriage, you know, it's got a 75 millimeter gun, but it's open topped, so you can catch some grenades, you know. M10 tank destroyers, Su-76. This vehicle with basically no machine gun, because if you have something that this has this much armor and has a machine gun in it, you can't stop it unless you've got, you know, a lot of anti-tank rifles or a 45 millimeter gun or something like that can get a side shot. So, but it's interesting because some of the scenarios involve, like the 1941 scenarios, the Germans have to get off the other end of the board. So right there, it means, you know, you got a choice. You're going to stop and fire, or you're going to try to just zip through as fast as you can, and hopefully you don't get taken out. So it's kind of a, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. How you want to swing it, type of thing. And you know, you can always make your own, but as a starting point, I'm going to try to do some pre-made ones, because at least you can kind of get a semblance of maybe some play balance stuff. But yeah, I have Normandy Firefighter, Firefight Normandy. I always get it mixed up. No vehicle rules, and it's only, Normandy. You know what there's a severe lack of? Italian buildings. There's a severe there's a severe lack of Italian buildings. So if I want to do Italy with my Brits, I'm going to have a hard time finding Italian looking buildings. Yeah, I ran a game of Normandy Firefight about 8 years ago, and Mitch didn't play in it, but somebody else did. It's kind of a World War II nut, and they didn't walk away wanting more. And it was really small. It was like, I think we had, I called the scenario a sniper hunt. I think there was 3 Germans and like 6 Americans or something like that, and they had to dislocate a sniper out of a house. And it was a little too one-dimensional. It would be my second favorite rules. You don't have to have vehicles, but the fact that there's no vehicle rules is you can't have like a car or something like that, that you need to escape in or something like that. All right, let's go over to this. I really wanted to pick up some models this week. I didn't. I resisted. Because I really enjoyed putting them together. Separate link track or not. I'm not afraid of separate link track. I kick that thing's ass and I feel good about it. Found a lot of World War II gamers who claim like World War II actually mean they just like tank fights. Yeah, it's all important. Everything's important. It's combined arms. World War II's combined arms. Yeah, tank fights. Or they say that, they just want to use like super tanks. And they don't want to use some of the lighter stuff. Yeah. It's really strange for me, being into World War II since I was a kid, to encounter people that maybe never played World War II or just getting into it for the first time. And, and that aren't 10 years old or 12 years old or 13 years old. I'm like, what have you been playing before? I mean, it's like it just makes that's just always what we played. There's no doubt about it. That's the Alpha and the Omega. WW2. All right, shovel time. Man, these decals that weren't the petting house, man, they were a freaking breeze. They were such a breeze, didn't leave any flat. Actually, believe it or not, it's going to blow your mind. I haven't sealed this vehicle. I still have to seal it. I'm not fretting over it, but I might tinker with it, adding force some more shadows on there, but the paint's not going to come off of it. It's got enough. These things aren't going to be handled that roughly. Hell, they might not be handled at all if I never play the game. One shovel. Let's just finish the shovel all the way up. Oh, we do have a white that's alive. Right? Nah, I just look like it. Frank said it best, you don't need a tiger tank for a good time. What's harder to roll on 5 dice, a straight or a full house? On 5 dice? Speaking of World War II, I was watching a model builder in Japan who built a 350 Yorktown diorama for Midway, and I have to say the amount of detail he used blew my mind. The photo etch alone would have made me lose my mind. Oh, so I found a new model builder. Remember I was telling you about Night Shift? There's another guy I had seen before, and this guy does some stuff in the same scale. He's crazy. This guy's crazy. And I saved him on my watch it later. I'll tell you who he is so you can watch some of his stuff. It's freaking crazy. He was doing a Panzer III that it was just, if you paint stuff like that, nobody can handle your stuff. I don't mean crazy. I mean, the guy's crazy. Like, that's a nice thing to say about him. I mean, let's find out what the hell his name is here. Let's see if I can pull this off. Library. Yep. And then I need to watch later. Here he is. What's his name? Plasmo. Guy's nuts. I got a Panzer 3L. There's a Panzer 3M, a 1/72nd scale Dragon kit by Plasmo. Plasmo. Check that out. It's 15 minutes long. Freaking brilliant. I think what's crazy about model builders is they do all that work and then it just sits on a shelf. I at least get to move it around and play vroom vroom and make, boomba sounds and things like that. That's why I don't build models. It's just basically a waste of my time. I am building models. They're just, for games. But yeah, that's a talented Joker right there. Plasmo. Sounds like some bad superhero on The Incredibles or something. The Revenge of Plasmo. Well, this is the scrubber for the barrel, so we're going to paint it like it's got a wooden handle as well. You guys know there's some incredible model builders out there on YouTube. At least we live in a time where people are willing to share the stuff that they do, Because I find that stuff empowering. Like, you get ideas and stuff from people like, oh, that takes too long to do. Or, well, maybe I can do that method, doing something else. Seen his works before. Yeah, he's crazy. Crazy good. Good for him. He may be crazy, but you know what? The reality is doing that might actually keep him from legitimately going crazy. Yahtzee. I remember back when I had a Yahtzee game on the computer. It was just black and white. It didn't even have any graphics. Yahtzee's not that bad of a game because you get to make some decisions. There's a Yahtzee type game that we like, that we played it as a family. And I'm thinking what it's called. It's called Is It or Piz It or something like that. Biz It. And you get some interesting decisions you have to make. Yeah, YouTube is wonderful. You basically don't need television. So one thing about the building models that didn't interest me a lot until I started doing it again. Like I knew I wanted to get back into doing World War II, but I didn't want to build any of the models because it was just going to take too long. And after I started solving these model challenges, and I've got one coming up because I've got a JSU 122 that's Russian, from a Russian company or Ukrainian company. It's one of the two things. And actually, when I bought it, I think they were together, but Ukraine and Russia. But anyhow, that's how old of a kit it is. It's not a PST or anything like that. It's an older model. But when you're able to solve some of these problems they have, it feels good because it's basically something else you can knock out of the park. But the reason I didn't want to do them is because it was just going to take time into painting it. I was going to cut it into my painting time. But yeah, I agree with you. It's therapeutic to a point. You know, it's therapeutic to a point. Let me put on my glasses and see what you guys are seeing in the colors. See how blue these guys are looking. I think it looks pretty good on your screen. It's kind of hard to tell because it's got a little bit of a gloss, and it's mostly the kickback from the light. Yeah, remember, we got no weathering on these. We're going to have some dusting and stuff on the... How do you feel about spiders? Uh-oh. Lots of people are scared about spiders. I don't know why that is. I don't like the flying roaches. Tap me out for that one. I'll take snakes, spiders, not flying roaches. Those things are disgusting. All right, we need to take a look at the light because I think there's some headlights here and some taillights. I should still have a picture up of 232. A 232. Let's see. Some of them put the crooked spider on the front of this thing. Yeah, we're not going to put a crooked spider up there. That's unnecessary. I'm not even putting an air recognition flag on any of my German stuff. That's unnecessary. Then I got to worry about it being filmed and, you know. I mean, I'm not offended by it, but it just sends the wrong message. Okay, I'm pretty sure those are headlights. Yep. The question is, what's the back of it look like? Gotta be red, I would think. Okay, here's a picture of it. Well, I can't find one, so that's what we're gonna do. Makes sense. Let's see. Uh-oh, what did I miss? There's a bathroom, one crawled over my foot. Man. Standing on a wolf spider. You'd actually be down for having a large spider as a pet. How large? Nah, I'd rather not put it on at all if I can't do it right. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll do one. It's got to be like for early Barbarossa stuff. I won't be making any videos defending why I'm not a Nazi. Like, geez, every time I bring these crooked spider people up, I mention that they're bastards, you know. If you don't watch my stuff, then you're definitely deranged, and I really don't give a shit what you say about me. If you're on a crusade, you need to go somewhere else. This is not a crusade-friendly place. The crooked spider people. All right, let's do the headlights here. We need a really, really small one, because these are really, really small. Here we go. Where's my white at? Paint the bottom of this a little lighter. And then we're going to go to the top. Let's get all this. And we're just going to put a dot of the white at the top. And that's what we're going with. And I'm going to assume these taillights are red. So I'm going to do the same thing, but with red. And then we're going to call it a day. And then if I don't like it, I find something better, I can repaint those little spots on there. Tarantula size would be nice. You're crazy. You're crazy. I'm not a spider hater, but if they were all tarantula size, hairy like that, shotgun. Boom! No way. That's creepy. And I'm not a spider hater, but man, no. Nope. Overkill on the red, but yeah, shit happens. You had me scared with a spider. Lots of people are like just terrified of spiders. And there are cute spiders. So they've had some at work that are really, really small. They're maybe about as big around as this orange thing. And they hop. And they're cute, you know? They're little like that, you know? I don't want to pet them or anything, but some things are cuter than others. Now I'm going to do some logic here. If I'm painting a red lens, when I'm painting a white lens, if I do it like this, then painting a red lens, I should do a little drop of red at the top, of the pure red. Let's try that. See how it works. I freaking like it. Just something real basic. Just a little something to not cogitate over and move on. I've tried finding, how to paint lenses and stuff online, and I couldn't find anything I was just loving. Okay, now, the Stug needed to have a little bit more of the blue color in some places. I noticed that while I was painting it. I'm pretty happy with this so far. Oh, we need to do the metallic on the shovel handle, on the actual shovels. Let's do that. Let's lay this on its side. Let's grab the dark metallic color. Iron Warriors. You meant the response is some things are cuter than others. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have cute tanks. You can have cute guns. Some spiders are cuter than others. Absolutely. I don't tend to use cute as, a derogatory term. So, if I see some female, I say, oh, she's cute. I don't mean it like she really isn't. No, I mean like she is, Some people that don't. I think cute's a good thing. All right, we need to do the coax. Okay. And that's it on that. And we need to do the shovel. Okay. And here we need to do the crank and the shovel here that somehow is not strapped down to the vehicle in any way, or at least I don't see it. I'm not going to worry about that. That's not my problem. That's somebody else's problem. Okay. Oh yeah, we're going to have to do the tracks. Well, I know one thing. We ain't spraying these guys clear because it's going to be dark in the garage, and I already screwed up a couple Shermans that way. Luckily, I was able to kind of fix them. Goodies is one way to describe that basket load of garbage. Alleyway Alley. It's rare to see a homeless lady. They're not that common. I've seen them, but they aren't that common. All right, let's get that blue back out. And touch some of this stuff up. And then these guys should be good to. Well, I still got to do the tracks and shit on here. I guess I should do that. This guy will be good to go. I want to seal it before I do any dusting and stuff on it. I like the little bit of the blue hue that's on here. I know they make a wash that you can do, and man, you can go nuts and never get anything done if that's what you're trying to accomplish. To not accomplish anything, this is what we missed here. There we go. Let's get some of that sand color here. I think this worked nicely instead of just the white. Okay, now we got to figure out where we're going to put the Balkan kreuzes on here. No. Maybe it's something to worry about on another day. Ahmed, the motherless goat herder, that's mine. Made an appearance this weekend's tournament. Awesome. Jeff Dunham is really talented. I don't think he's that funny. I could write better material. I can't do the ventriloquist stuff, you know. He's extremely talented, but Ahmed, the motherless goat herder, yeah. Yeah, it was one of my characters in Absurdistan. Absurdistan, the place where nothing makes sense. All right. Let's pull the old chocolate brown out. That's what we did as a base for this track, so I was pretty happy with that. Although, yeah, you end up getting dusted over and you can't even tell. But you drive over a battlefield that's covered in a certain kind of dirt in a track vehicle, and your track vehicle is basically going to look like the battlefield. There's not really a whole lot you can do about that. Let's a whole bunch of these. Let's be wasteful. This is about right. And I just can't do it. I just can't not mix colors. Probably should be doing this on the wet palette, but it's just so damn big. It's just so damn big. Yeah, I need to give it more than that. That's too blackish. That's better. All right, let's do the ends here. Do the ends last. See, I was watching this thing on YouTube about the Stalingrad thing with maps. It's fascinating. I only was able to watch like half of it. It talks about all the units. It's that thing that guy that does all the. I think it's called World War II Visualized or something like that. I think it might not be the guy what it is, but he'll have like all the units and the front line will move. Like it'll go day by day. You can see where they expand, and it's pretty cool because you find one of the units that you're interested in, and you can follow where it's at, and it was pushing or being pushed, and then you can read more about that. But that was a pretty cool episode. Yeah, just something like that. Now let's do the ends, which we only have to do the ends that can be seen. It's a very crude model, but I think it'll end up looking pretty good anyhow. So you getting comfortable with your new ride there, Rick? You know what I hate about those new vehicles is all like the lane departure warning and all that horse shit that keeps you from gives you excuses to basically surf on your phone while you're driving, because I don't like any of that stuff, or automatic lights, or ketchup. Ugh. I'd rather it smell like dog shit. My wife's car has all that lane departure bullshit turned off, but it's got this look straight ahead at the road. It doesn't like how I like to hold the steering wheel, and it likes to bitch at you. I'm like, I couldn't drive that vehicle. I couldn't handle that being my vehicle. Yeah, I hate all that stuff. I hate all that stuff. I like Bluetooth. I like air conditioning. That's it. I don't want the only unnecessary type of technology that I don't have it in my current vehicle, but I did in the previous one, was automatic headlights, automatic brights. So what you do is you leave them popped in, right? Like you've got brights, at least in Japanese vehicles, they pop in like that. And every time you turn them on, they're basically engaged, but it senses when somebody's too close and turns them off. So you basically, like if you're on a dark road, you just, you leave, and there's nobody coming, so you just leave your brights on all the time. And when the other car gets close, your car knows it and automatically goes back to normal headlights. And then when the other car passes you, it goes back to bright. So you're not constantly having to turn them on and off yourself. The car does it. That's actually a nice thing. So that's actually a nice a technology that I didn't ask for, but I welcome. Because a lot of the stuff is just like, they put all this extra shit, and it's just, it's all going to break eventually. Let's dry brush a little lighter color here. Lighter brown. Old rust. The other thing I can't understand is, why isn't it standard that the fuel gas tank isn't on the same side that the driver is. You know, the fill thing should always be on the driver's side. That way you can scoot up close to where it is. But no, my Xterra was on the wrong side. My current car is on the wrong side. It's just weird. Just weird that hasn't been standardized. I mean, the pulls here, why do you have a cord that crosses to the opposite side of the, I assume it's through the roof, you know, to delatch the other. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Don't need all that stuff in your car, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I dig the all-wheel drive. That's going to be hard to not have that from now on. I also like taking a 90-degree turn at about 40. And to be able to handle. Not that I do that on any frequency, but I did it a couple months ago for the first time. I figured, let's see what this thing can handle. Yep, held it just fine. Of course, there was nobody around. And didn't even wiggle. All right. I think that's okay. We can dry brush the silver and stuff on there, the metal as it's worn out after we've sealed this. I am not sealing this when I'm not in good light because I don't want to give it a really heavy coat and ruin every single thing that I did. What time is it? Almost 10? Yeah, I probably need to call it a night. Yeah, so let's see how we did here. Of course, we don't have the decals on here. And they're also not weathered. Let's see if I can see what's going on here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what they look like until they get the flat coat on them. Something about the flat coat just like performs a miracle. And there's something up here I got to find out if that's a box or something like that, but I can paint that afterwards. Just want to get the main stuff on here. Really love the German gray vehicles. You liked a little bit of a blue tint, and this one's just a little bit lower, but it's just as blue as this one. It's just because of the lighting in here is a little too forced. There you go. Maybe makes it a little bit more apparent. Look on the right. This little guy right here. Yeah, this is a perfect example how the Germans over-engineer everything. This is an extremely complicated vehicle. It's actually a pretty badass vehicle considering the weapon on it's pretty lame. The 20mm autocannon isn't, but it's the same vehicle. It's the same gun that's on this. Same gun that's on the Panzer II. Yeah, I like the blue too. It's not over the top. It's not over the top. And we're going to have to pick some of those details out. It's not as powerful as, say, oh, I don't know, this guy, the Puma, which will be repainted. And this is going to be a problem. I can't take that. I can't take this turret off because it's got these. Look at these Chinese screws. I've never seen screws like this. They're a triangle. Triangular screws. How freaking strange. These are actually these are articulated. Almost looks like this is actually rubber. So I'll be able to take, when it's time to paint this, I'll just take these off. We can paint it and then put them back on and weather them. So what? The thunderstorms are back. No, we could actually use the rain. I'm not going to lie to you. We didn't get any rain from the hurricane. That sounds insane, which it pretty much is. So, anyhow. Yeah, this thing's got a pretty badass gun. For an armored car, it's pretty badass. So. Anyhow. Alright, well, we're going to call it a night. We'll be back on later this week. And maybe we'll take some pictures when we're done with this in some decent light. Because you can see it really messes. This looks totally different than this. And they look the same in person. It's just the height and stuff. This will have a couple of antennas coming up here. Antennas, just like this. And put some crosses on there. Maybe we'll even put a number on there. Who knows? And yeah. Anyhow, good stuff coming. Yeah, there'll be plenty more German gray vehicles. So anyhow, until next time, thanks for stopping by.